Shut up and sit down.
Hey.
Hello, and welcome to the Nerds at Large Spoilercast for Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 1. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
I'm Jeff Mayo.
And we are joined by two awesome guests. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourself?
Woo! What's up, motherfuckers? I'm Chad Michael Innes, and I am here from the land of Oz, and I am a medium Game of Thrones fan, and I'm stoked as fuck.
I am Holden, and I started watching Game of Thrones last year for the first time. I binge watched it in a month, and then I just rewatched season 7 recently. So I like the show. It's really good. I'm here to talk about it.
That is a lot of episodes in a month, but I have heard of people doing it in like a week. So.
I didn't expect to do it in a month. It was like, no, I'm not. I can attest. I was very, very reluctant to watch Game of Thrones at first. It was kind of like, no, I'll try to watch it. I don't know. I'll try to get through it. I don't know. I'm done in a month. It's over. Oh my God. When's the next season coming out?
He was one of those people that's like, I don't want to watch it because everyone says it's so good, and there's no way it's that good.
I still don't think it's that good, but it's very fucking good.
Yeah, I definitely can get that. I started watching the show at season 4, and then I was kind of the same way. I just started watching it, and the next thing I know, it's like, oh, there's no more episodes. Dang.
You started watching in season 4, or like when season 4 was airing?
Season 4 was airing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. That would be a wild way to experience Game of Thrones.
I'll figure it out as we go along. I'll piece it together.
Who are all these people with brown hair?
But then I ended up going and reading all of the books because I'm a madman. That's a lot of books.
Shnikes.
Oh, I should mention I did read the first book. I have read the whole first book.
I haven't read shit, but I started watching from the beginning, and then I rewatched it all this year.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm a big deal around here. Out here in California. Big deal.
It just no one can see Chad, unfortunately, but he has giant aviator sunglasses on indoors, and I really appreciate it.
He's also supporting the fact that he's a big deal.
The aviators are really so you guys can see the reflection of the TV screen in front of me, which has all my notes for the episode on it. So it's really for you.
Yeah, so we can read those really notes.
Helpful. Yeah. That is super helpful. Well, Jeff, where's your Game of Thrones history, I guess?
I mean, you taught me to watch it shortly after you started. I ended up finishing it faster than you are catching up.
Yep. Because I'm convinced that Jeff can pause time and consume media faster than it actually plays.
Yep.
What a cool superpower.
He just podcasts. He listens to it twice as fast. He can speed it up.
Everyone sounds like chipmunks.
Yeah.
Dracarys.
I never found seriously that intimidating. Her voice is just too high pitched.
I just don't get it. All right, well, you guys, the final season of Game of Thrones has begun. There's only 5 weeks left, and just with how fast that episode went by, it's like this is gonna be done before we know it.
Yeah, so this is supposed to be the shortest one, I think.
It is it's the shortest one.
I could see,
although it might not be the shortest based on length of time.
No, it is.
It's 6 weeks, but it's some of the episodes are hour and a half, 2 hours each.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this episode, out of the 6, I think is the shortest. But yeah, I think the last 2 are 90 minutes. So that's gonna be insane. And this one, once we got to the end of it, I legitimately thought we had 15 more minutes.
Yeah.
when it ended, it seemed like this episode flew by.
Well, we did have 10 more minutes of credits and Chernobyl. By the way, Chernobyl looks fucking great.
It does.
But yeah, it was 10 minutes.
It was a whole inside Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, and inside the episode, yeah.
Yeah, which I guess to be clear, me and Jeff did not watch that. We were already running late, so we just bailed and started setting up.
We had internet problems.
Yes, pretty bad.
Oh, gross.
Problems. And our stream quality was not the best, so we might have to figure out some other solution next week. But what did you guys think about the first episode?
I thought it was good. It was very much a setup for what the season's going to be, which is conflict about why people should care about the Night King and his army when there's tradition to honor, and I think it's kind of going to be the thread of the season. Or the theme.
You know what I thought this whole episode was? I thought this whole episode was each of the characters walking up to each other, and they haven't seen each other in years, and every one of you like starts their sentences with "previously on Game of Thrones." This is where I've been for the past 4 years. Where have you been? Oh, I've been over here doing this. What? So-and-so's my dad? What? How'd you survive? I didn't. What? And it's just everyone catching up on everyone's gossip. And that's all this episode was for an hour. And I'm not upset, so.
I was about to say, nothing. That makes it sound like it was bad.
No, you get to see everyone react to everyone's gossip.
Yeah.
Some of that gossip was big, though. The Daenerys meeting Samwise Tarly for the first time, and that gossip.
Yeah.
And I really like how that came around. And like, honestly, I should have been thinking about it, but when she walked up and she was like thanking Sam for saving Jorah, I wasn't even thinking about it. And then when that came up, I was like, oh shit.
No, I thought about it. It's like, okay, this is how it's going to happen.
And like, props to Sam's actor. Like, for his acting in that scene was incredible.
Oh, yeah. Also, just that scene took a really funny turn where it's like, Sam, what can we ask of you? Well, I need a pardon. And they're expecting, like, he murdered someone. And there's this little cheeky moment where he's like, no, I stole some books from the library. And...
I've got some overdue library books. And she's like, cool, I burned your dad.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
at least my brother's okay. No, I got him too.
That scene like turned from like really sweet to really like cute and adorable to like horrific and depressing.
Yeah.
Yep.
But damn, that writing's
like,
good because it worked.
And it was, I mean, like, but I like that it kind of like this is the Game of Thrones that I actually like kind of like the most and I get excited about the most is the like weird questions of morality and the like the balance between trying to be a good ruler and then also realizing that being a good ruler means you're going to ruin people's lives and you're going to have to do terrible things.
Mm-hmm.
There was a moment when Sam tells Jon that Daenerys murdered my family, basically, and there's this moment where Jon almost was like, "Well, she probably had to do it," like,
yeah,
just to kind of explain that morality.
Exactly, because I mean he's a person who's been a leader and who is a leader, and like so that's probably immediately where his mind went is that he's like, this is like he could see himself in that situation because he's been in that situation.
Well, plus he's in love, so he's like, I'm sure she had a reason.
Yeah. My Danny, she wouldn't have done that for no reason. Like your dad probably fucked up.
She's your aunt.
But he even says like, well, I've done that to people who've disobeyed me as well. Like it's kind of like brushing it off. It's kind of interesting. But he's like, but I'm still so sorry. I'm still so sorry that happened. But I can see both sides though.
Jon out here both sidesing.
Both sides were equally bad, Sam. Your dad stood in front of that dragon, and so did your brother.
It's okay. Your brother is at the Umbrella Academy now.
Oh God!
Yeah, I didn't realize it until I saw something earlier. The flashback. That's who that is.
Oh, okay. Jeff, what'd you think overall?
Thought it was a good episode. You guys said it's a good setup episode. I think it was pretty much needed as far as these interactions because there are a lot of these characters that haven't seen each other in seasons. Daenerys had to meet people, so I thought that was good for this. Some people got some of the talking and stuff out of the way, or some stuff that needed to be said, and they set up the plot points for the future. So I'm hoping not too much more setup before things really get crazy.
Yeah, I think this episode was more set up than I expected, but I really liked it because I think there was a lot of like interesting dynamics being set up, between like Daenerys and the Northmen and all that stuff. And I kind of like that. I kind of like that we didn't dwell too much on Theon saving Yara. I'm kind of glad that was just like, it's done, and now like there's a whole nother thing that Theon's doing in this series.
Especially if Yord was not there. Yeah, I'm glad they just kind of it's a quick little thing and got done.
Yeah,
I'll say, it's cool that it didn't take too long. It took a shockingly little amount of time. It's like, he got in the boat, no problem whatsoever. There's like no conflict. He just killed everyone immediately. No one saw anything. He got her. It was fine.
Yeah, from the guy who used to be like the biggest coward on the planet to suddenly now, I'm just gonna stealthily come in here and plunder the Black Pearl and steal my sister back, and just happens in an
great
instant.
moment though where she headbutts him like "fuck you, dude."
Yeah, that was
but
great. That was great.
We're still family, and then holds her hand out.
Which honestly, I was like, fair enough.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
I think even Theon was like, I deserve that.
Totally. Theon's like, I'm glad it was only a headbutt.
Well, like I just ended up it was like definitely the rescue mission was a little too nonchalant. Just a few arrows and then some dude's faces walks in
For axe to someone's face.
Yeah, it was a little too nonchalant, but their moment afterwards got me more than I thought it would, because I haven't loved Yara as a character in this series. Like, she's never really, I don't know, she's never really clicked with me. Whereas
we also haven't had a ton of exposure to her either.
That's true. That's true. And
Aside
whereas
from
like
her
I think,
starting to give her brother a handy on a horse.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's
right.
right. I forgot about that. That's
Yeah.
weird. There's a lot of incest on this show.
She knew
It's
that was his
weird.
brother too.
Yeah.
this is just the evolution of Game of Thrones. Is that now that now people are cheering on the incest? That's where we are now. All right. Well, let's just maybe start with Daenerys and Jon coming into the North.
Oh yeah, I love this scene. They actually mentioned this in the inside the episode. I loved this scene, how it parallels the first season, where you have the first season, Arya's really excited to see Robert Baratheon and all the Lannisters come into Winterfell for the first time, and then we're seeing it through another little kid's eyes, but it's Daenerys and Jon coming into Winterfell, and Arya's just like, "What's up? I'm established here. I'm a big deal, but I'll let you take a look at this parade, little boy." That was really great. Also, 10 seconds before that, can we talk about the intro video real quick?
Oh, yeah.
The opening credits, how cool that it looks so different for some reason this year. Maybe it has always changed a lot more, but I feel like it changed a lot for this season. Like seeing the broken wall in the intro of the video, and then the way the Iron Throne comes up at the end with the Lannister sigil right behind it. I thought that was super dope.
Yeah, no, it was completely different.
Yeah, I'm sure it's changed subtly, just kind of throughout the season, depending on stuff going on. But yeah, this was definitely the most different it's been.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
Anyway.
it did look sweet. It was I was surprised they're going that hard to change it just for the final season, but it's
They got money.
yeah, they have money.
Yeah, they only had to make 6 episodes. They got another 7 episodes worth of money left.
Yeah. That's how it works.
Let's spice up that interest. Yeah, no, that was awesome. But I love this whole scene. This you kind of felt the hatred just from everyone in the North, just as they're walking in, and Jon and Daenerys' relationship is something that me and Jeff both were not huge fans of going into this, but since we're here, I do think it's interesting the kind of dynamic between Jon's I'm just doing this to save the North, and they're yeah, I think you're also doing that for your penis too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do those have to be mutually exclusive? Can his penis also save the North?
His penis lives in the North. He's saving his penis.
No, I mean, I like the idea. First of all, he's never wanted to be king. He's not into that leadership type stuff. He wanted to be a ranger. He wanted to be out there fighting people and being a badass. But I really, really love the fact that he's someone who's in the face of all of this power, I can see when someone's better at it than me, and I can comfortably swallow my pride and hand that to someone who I think is going to be a better ruler than I am. And I think that's super dope. And I hate that all these catty bitches can't get on board, Sansa Stark and that little baby girl who's hilarious.
I think that's kind of the larger theme of the show, though, is that Jon's able to do this because he sees this threat coming. This threat that does not live in tradition. It does not live in their society. It does not give a shit about what they do. And Sansa still cares about what they do, about living up to those traditions and honors. I think that is the theme that's going to build up throughout the season.
There's kind of a theme of everyone is concerned with the fear that they have seen themselves and they know. And Sansa has seen the politics of Westeros tear her family apart, and she that's the threat that she sees and that she knows, whereas Jon has seen the Night King and the White Walkers, and like he thinks that's the true threat. And it's like, and like this has been established. This has definitely like been built up that the North are insanely stubborn and very proud. So, and it's kind of been Jon's arc this entire show that he's trying to do what's best for everyone, even as they fight against him. He's just like, yeah, which is super, super interesting.
At the same time, too, I mean, going back to the whole he loves Daenerys, his love for Daenerys, or his at least lust for her, is
You don't think it's lust? I mean, you don't think it's love?
I mean, it's been 2 episodes of them, like, really being a couple, really. I mean,
it's like a couple who's been together for like 2 weeks and they think that they're
they're in love.
You're right. We all know that it only took them 30
Let's make it to
minutes
episode
to
3, see how they're
Winterfell.
doing. We'll determine if they're in love or not, all right?
No, they're obviously in love. Danny wanted to stay at that waterfall forever, remember?
Oh, God, yeah. She wanted to fuck her nephew while her children watched under the waterfall.
Dude, her children, or at least one of them, did not look happy about it.
No, they were not impressed.
So are we supposed to read in that? They're like, hey, yo, that's your aunt, dude. Stop. Please
We
stop.
know. We can smell it.
The dragons obviously know he's a Targaryen. So they knew, like, dude, you know, you don't want to do this. Like, for real, if I could speak English right now, I would tell you to stop.
Yeah. Like, you're no better than the Lannisters. They're fucked up, man.
They should have flipped over to the dragon. He like puts his wings in front of his eyes or something.
That would have been so out of character for Game of Thrones. I would have loved that. That would have been amazing.
or every time Jon goes to pull a condom out, the dragon just swipes it away and just swats the condom out of his hand every time.
Oh my god.
No, go back to the original point of that, though. Jon's love of Daenerys is going to blind him. And I think that's his kind of crux.
I think that's kind of what they're setting this up for, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now it's a completely new layer on there. Like, I honestly can't really predict how Jon's gonna handle this news. And like Sam definitely kind of hinted that Jon should be the one who has the throne, and he said, like, would Daenerys be willing to give up power for him? And I agree that like Jon would not want this. This is probably the worst news Jon could ever get. 'Cause he's like, I think being king of the 7 kingdoms is like Jon's hell, basically.
I think part of me was expecting him to tell Sam, tell no one. Like, don't you speak another word of this. No one.
That's
can
what I
find
was
out.
thinking when that scene was going on.
Yeah, but I'm almost wondering, like, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but like when Arya and Jon like reunited, Arya said like, "Your family, and don't forget that." That almost made me think that she knew, like that she knew that he's a. But maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think it was that. I think it was the whole just the butting heads with Sansa thing, and Arya was kind of on Sansa's side, so it was kind of like, we're family, don't forget that, and that kind of thing. I don't think it had anything to do with the Targaryen thing. It might come into play with all that. It might mix together once this gets out.
It could. But also to kind of answer Sam's question of like, would Daenerys be like willing to realize she doesn't, if Jon did want the throne, would Daenerys be willing to give it up because he has the better claim? And I honestly think no.
Hell no. I don't think so.
I mean, like, Daenerys has, through this whole journey, Daenerys has been able to say, I have the claim to the throne of Westeros, and that was kind of a convenient way to, like, give her an excuse for doing this. Mm-hmm. But I honestly believe if you take that away from her, she's still going to say, no, I want the throne. Like, even if it's not right for me to have it, like, that would make her face her, like, real desires of, like,
There's also that scene in season 7 where Jon meets Daenerys for the first time, and she's like, bend the knees, like, I'm not going to. And then she gives us basically a speech about, I'm the rightful queen. I was imprisoned and raped and all these horrible things, but I powered through because I had faith that one day I would meet my place on the throne, my rightful place on the throne. Like, she's this really good queen in the sense that she wants to treat people really well, but it has to be her.
Right, and like, how is she gonna react when she said, like, she's been through all this, she's been raped, she's done all of this, and then she realizes, oh, she was not the one. She did not have the claim.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even you saw whenever her brother was being a maniac, and like she at the time thought he's got the right to the throne, but she didn't stop the Dothraki from putting that gold all over his head and killing him.
No.
She doesn't necessarily have that utmost respect for the line of succession.
No. I think she has as much of that to get her there.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, does that want for the throne carry her enough to like betray Jon in some way?
Well,
because Viserys was was an awful, terrible person, but Jon is different. So it's an interesting question because I still do think there's a chance we get like a dark Daenerys ending to this. I think I wouldn't say it's likely, but I would say there's still a chance.
And they've been setting kind of that up, her going crazy forever.
Oh yeah, for a long. They've been teetering back and forth between Daenerys is a great queen that you should be pulling for, and then there's little flashes of Mad King.
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, even Sam even says to Jon, like, you would have had the honor to spare my father and brother. Like, you don't have to execute people because there's a tradition there. Like, you have morals that guide you. Daenerys did not. It's like, okay, you didn't bend to me, cool. I now have permission to kill you, and I shouldn't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how long it's gonna be until someone other than the people that already know about Jon find out. I could see it kind of be like he keeps it a secret for a while because he doesn't care, and it would only cause problems. But I just had a thought. Sam could blurt it out because he's not happy with Daenerys or something.
Yeah, and I could definitely see that where like there's a bunch of resentment for Daenerys around everywhere, and then Sam blurts out like she's not even the rightful queen. Jon is,
Or even like Gilly. Like Gilly knows, but maybe she knows that Sam told Jon, but Jon hasn't told anybody, and she just accidentally lets it slip to somebody.
Wait, does Gilly know?
Gilly knows that the marriage was annulled, but I don't know if she knows the Jon part.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if she's put all that together.
Yeah.
Well, the thing, too, is that there's a lot of people in Winterfell now. I mean, Jaime Lannister is there now.
I know, sporting the same haircut as his sister.
Twinsies.
Right? He was like, man, that looks good on you. I think I'll do it, too.
Yeah, I love that. Like, we don't actually get like a sense of people traveling, so they just have to grow hair, and that's just the only way we can tell that people are traveling.
Yeah. I like how the whole episode, Bran just seemed like he was just sitting in that one spot, waiting to stare at people.
Being weird as fuck. This kid, first of all, nobody put a blanket on him or anything. He's been outside sitting on that archway waiting for someone to push him indoors, and everyone just leaves him there.
I feel like Sansa would wake up and walk out on the balcony, see him out there. She's like, shit, I never brought him in. Oh no.
I really love that character moment. Really small character moment with Bran looking weird and creepy, but still a good character moment. Just Jaime looking at him and going, "Oh my god, I pushed that kid out of a window."
Yep, and he's alive.
And Jamie's probably thinking, of course, this is the first one I see.
Yep. And of course, he's this all-knowing magical raven beast that can do whatever he wants.
But at this point, I mean, is Bran capable of being angry with people?
No.
Like, I don't know if he is.
He's not Brand anymore.
He's not
so
Bran.
I bet he doesn't even see Jaime as the guy who pushed him out because he's like, no, you pushed Brand out. I'm a raven.
Yeah, I mean, that works in Jaime's favor that Brand's the Eye Raven.
Yeah.
But Jaime doesn't know that. He has no clue.
Brand will let him know the first sentence he says. Every single person he says, I'm not Brand. It's good to see you. Remember, I'm not your brother.
But Bran could still blurt out that, like, oh yeah, he pushed me out the window. I don't really care, but just
these are the facts.
Yeah, and then
I cannot lie.
Yeah.
Going back to like the Jon being the rightful heir thing, I have a feeling if Sam doesn't say it, Brand will, just because he told Sam, he's like, now is the time, he has to know.
Yeah.
So if Sam doesn't say anything, I think Brand's gonna blurt it out.
Which that also makes me wonder: does Jon being like a Targaryen, being the rightful heir and stuff, have something to do with the White Walker threat? Because that seems to be Bran's biggest thing, and Bran was even like, we don't have time for you to even introduce yourself to each other. We have the White Walkers to worry about. But then later that episode, he's like, oh, we have to tell Jon.
But can Bran see the future?
Yes.
He can? Okay, right? So yeah. I don't know if he can or not. I really don't.
He can see everything.
I know he can see the past.
I think he can see the present and everything that's happened in the past. I don't think he can see the future.
I don't think so, but I'm not 100% sure.
I think a
You
lot
need
of
a fourth
this.
eye for that.
If we're
2
gonna
eyes to
start,
see the present like a normal person, 1 eye to see the past, and then you need a fourth one to see the future.
Exactly. I mean, probably maybe what it is, he can see like everything, the past and present. And he's like really all knowing and stuff. So he can probably just predict what happens based on everything he knows. If not see the future.
I mean, that makes me like. There's the whole Azora High prophecy, like the person who's supposed to like end the long night and everything, and everyone always like thinks, is it Jon? Is it Daenerys? Is it someone else? Because those two are too easy.
Little Sam.
It's obviously Little Sam. But that makes me think more that it's Jon, because I like why would Three-Eyed Raven Bran necessarily care who is the king of the Seven Kingdoms?
He wouldn't normally, but it's just defeat the Night King and stuff. Whoever needs to be on the
So
front.
it makes me think it's important. Yeah. That's true. Well, do we have any more Winterfell Jon stuff? We can move on to other things.
I have one question about stuff that takes place in Winterfell. Does anyone know what was on the piece of paper that Arya handed Gendry? Because to me, it looked like a ballpoint pen. It was just a drawing of like a pen that comes apart, and she's like, "Make this for me." And I saw that it had dragon glass written on it. But what does she want him to make?
I would have to go back and look at that.
Yeah, not completely sure.
Yeah, I think I missed that. Or I remember it, but I don't know. Yeah, but I mean that was cool though too. There's so many reunions in this episode.
I know. It makes me think back to like 4 or 5 seasons ago, whenever the meme was going around with all the Starks on it, and it says, "We are never, ever, ever getting back together." And then this is the episode that finally proves that meme wrong.
But it is
Except for
crazy
Mom and
to
Dad.
think that like Jon and Arya have not had a scene together since like the early part of season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they were like Arya was a tiny little kid, or at least their actress. Yeah, and those. I mean, I think those hit really well. I like the Hound and Arya. I like that the Hound still kind of can't show his true feelings ever.
Yeah.
But you
I don't know. He
still
called Arya a bitch. That was really awesome.
But that's kind of the Hound's way of showing affection
Yeah.
in a weird way. All right, well, let's move on, at least for the moment, to Cersei and King's Landing.
Yeah.
Ooh, girl.
Yeah.
So, Cersei has moved on from Jaime already, apparently, or at least
Hell, and she likes it.
physically.
She
moved
likes
on,
this Joshua Jackson looking motherfucker.
God, he is so obnoxious, though.
Yes, he
Oh,
is.
he's pretty obnoxious. I mean, he plays that character really well.
Oh, he really does. Yeah, absolutely.
Like a Jack Sparrow, but worse. Like somehow.
It's one of those
He's
things
just
where
like-
if I met him and he wore exactly that clothing, talked exactly like that, and was a bunch of an assholes he's in the show, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. I don't think he's an actor. I think they just went to Westeros and plucked him from there.
That's exactly what it is. He's got that sharp tongue, though, that just like anything she says to him, he fires right back and does not give a shit. And I think she's just like, ooh, oh, no one says that to me. I'm quaking in my boots right now, sexually.
Yeah, I kind of didn't expect her to kind of give in to what he wants, like going into this quickly, but it also kind of makes sense because she just doesn't care anymore, and like Jaime's gone, so she's just like,
And I think it's a way of like, that's what Euron wants really, and let's just do it now so we can make sure he, that's a chance that he'll stay loyal throughout the whole thing.
yeah.
I think also
Okay.
it fits in that she would be attracted to him because I think that's exactly how she would want to talk all the time if she didn't have to be the queen and think about order and honor and tradition and all that other stuff. Like, she would totally just be balls against the walls like that and going off like he does because he doesn't give a shit. She kind of has to give a shit to be in the position that she's in. She wishes she could say those things. I think that's what the attraction is.
And I think part of it is this kind of reckless type person is who she wanted Jamie to be for so long, and Jamie was kind of the one piece that was like keeping her sane and keeping her like on track. And then now that he's gone, like this is kind of the like guilt, like just the completely like guilty pleasure like version of Jamie that she wanted him to be that he never was.
The guilty pleasure version of you. That's good.
It's kind of like Jamie kind of kept her. Oddly enough, he was kind of almost like a moral compass, and he's like, "No, we're not going to do that. This is bad, and we're good people. Well, we're not good people, but we're
the deeply moral Jamie Lannister."
It's so weird though, but he kind of kept them on track. And then now that he's gone, she's just like rebounding hard. I'm going to find the filthiest person out there, and I'm just going to sleep around a little bit, and then I'll come back.
But I mean, that's the thing about Game of Thrones is that Jamie is kind of the moral compass, and it's kind of crazy that this is the guy who pushed Bran out the window in episode 1.
Right.
And then now in episode 8, we're like, yeah, he was really the only good thing. He was the only good side of the Lannisters. I mean, because this is how they write these characters. And like Theon Greyjoy, you absolutely hate that guy in the first few seasons, and then now you're like, I'm about to cry because he's finally having something good happen in his life. And yeah, those are really good.
By the way, Theon and is it Euron? Euron? What is it?
Euron.
Euron's his brother.
They really do look like brothers.
They do, yeah.
It's pretty impressive, actually.
That's what I think.
Siri
Siri
agrees.
just said that's what I figured.
Okay. I was wondering.
She agrees. She's like, I figured they were brothers too.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're actually, it's his uncle, but
his uncle. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, they do. Yeah, they did.
Really, it's
that
his
was a good
uncle. They
cast.
look like they're the same age.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
no, it is his uncle.
It's his uncle. Yeah. And apparently he is just like best friends with the Jamie Lannister's actor.
But Yara's his sister. I'm not crazy. His sister is still Yara. Okay.
His sister's Yara,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was always weird to me because Euron doesn't look like he would be as old as Theon's dad was, who looked like he was
Not
ancient as fuck.
At all. Exactly. That's why I was honestly really surprised to just hear he was his uncle. I never would have guessed that unless you told me. Never.
I think he's supposed to be older than he looks. Because like I just know in the books he has like a very long past. Like there's a lot of things he did, so he has to be like older than this guy.
Maybe there's a big age difference between Euron and Theon's dad.
And there probably is. Yeah, I mean I think there is because Balon was just like ancient. Yeah.
I'll tell you what happened. Euron Greyjoy walked into the audition wearing exactly what he wears in the show, looking exactly as he does. He acted like he did, like, man, you're not. We need to be twice as old, but like, fuck, that was amazing. Like, you are that guy.
I'm kind of convinced that he's not acting.
He's not acting.
Yeah.
He's just really he's him.
Just who he is.
It's just me. But yeah, like I think Jamie Lannister's actor said that like this guy like babysat his kids and stuff.
Nice.
like long before Game of Thrones, which is like long before he was in Game of Thrones, which is crazy.
It's like, yeah, we need to cast this character. Jamie's actor's like, I'll get my babysitter.
But we also got the Golden Company are coming with Cersei, but it was a real big bummer because like in the books, the Golden Company are a huge part of Book 5, and they fight on these giant elephants, and it's like super badass. So whenever we heard that the Golden Company were coming on last season, I'm like, hell yeah, we're gonna see some elephants like kicking some ass, and then they come in here like, oh yeah, we couldn't take the elephants, and that just felt like the showrunners being like, hey, we really didn't have the budget for that. Oh, we didn't feel
Exactly,
like doing
yeah.
this.
That's too much work. You see all this dragon time on screen. That's all you get in, man.
Yeah, that was a bummer though.
I guess keeping with King's Landing, we can talk about the bronze scene and what that's can lead to.
Yeah, so if Cersei, Cersei is apparently tasking Bronn with killing Jaime and Tyrion, basically.
Yeah. With that same crossbow.
If she doesn't have some sort of like secondary plan here that we don't know about, then this just seems like a really stupid move to go after the one guy who like has an actual like relationship with these people. It probably wouldn't be willing to do this. Why do you pick him?
I think for story reasons, to have him do it is a good character moment for Bronn, because I think he's always been about money. It's all about money, 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 money. But he's kind of loved Tyrion. He's gotten to know Jaime over this period. Does he choose money over the friends he's made? he's always been about the money. I think it'd be a good kind of character moment for him to see what he decides.
Part of me also wonders whether Cersei actually thinks he'll do it, or whether she's just giving him this task as like a test to be like, well, if he really does have loyalty to me, then he'll fucking do it. If he doesn't, I didn't expect him to in the end anyway.
Yeah.
He'll just be dead. But yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that could make sense. Yeah, I was thinking, like you were saying, Holden, that could be a good character moment. But yeah, from Cersei's perspective, it's like, I want to send someone who's not exactly my army, so I'm going to send the one guy who's actually friends with both my brothers.
I'm like, she has so many people who could kill people. It's just like, it's kind of weird that she chooses, Bronn, who has kind of a friendship with both of these people.
I mean, honestly,
also,
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. It's hard because it's breaking up, and I can never tell when you're finished. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Why did you just say Clegane after everyone? Like Gregor Clegane. I'd be just terrified. He could just stomp in anywhere he wants to, and just people be like, I'm not fucking with him, and just take him out. She doesn't have to hire anyone.
Because she has to have protection herself in King's Landing.
That's true.
And he's not discreet like Bronn could be.
I don't think she cares if it's discreet or not. She just wants it done.
Also, I don't know if he can operate a crossbow.
This is true.
He's
fat
just not
zombie
smart
fingers. don't know if he can do it.
His fingers are too big.
But I could also kind of buy that Cersei is just sadistic enough that she's like, no, I want your friend to be the one that kills you with the crossbow that you used to kill our family.
Yeah.
I can buy that.
Speaking of Tyrion, I love that the entire season all opens with the very first line being a eunuch joke.
Yeah, that was really funny.
I think that was brilliant. The first thing you hear anyone say is a eunuch joke.
You've waited 2 years for Game of Thrones. Here's a eunuch joke. Where are we moving next? I'm trying to think of everything that happened.
So we've got the Tyrion, like that trio there of their hijinks throughout the episode, which wasn't a whole lot.
Old men watching
Varys and
younger people.
Whoever the fuck.
Varys and Davos.
Davos, that's who it was.
We also have it at Castle. Was it Castle Black? Yeah, Castle Black. They had that one scene with what's his name? Redhead guy, wildling with the red beard.
Oh yeah, I called them the Wildling Power Rangers. Gingerbeard and Eye Patch Man.
I have a question for you guys. There's that part where the undead kid wakes up when he's being pinned against the wall, and he has all those arms and the symbol around him. When it lights up like that, was that a symbol I was supposed to recognize?
Yes.
Okay, what was that symbol? I was confused for a second.
So that's the same symbol that you saw in like the Children of the Forest. Back whenever the White Walker was created. It's the same symbol that you see actually a lot of times throughout the show, and like when White Walkers will kill something in the north of the wall, oftentimes you'll find like their bodies or things arranged in that same kind of spiral pattern. Okay. So that was like, it's their mark basically.
Okay. They were looking at it with like this look of realization, as if like, oh, we now know what they're going to do or something like that. It was just horror. I just was misreading that situation. They were just looking at it in horror. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think there's too much meaning off of it. Yeah, I think it was just hey, you're screwed.
Hey,
that was the same kid who they sent out with the extra horses and wagons to get his people, right? That was the same kid?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think that seems partly to say, one of the North's allies is now gone. And the fact, hey, the White Walkers and all those people are heading more down south.
Yeah, they're getting further down.
That was
at a decent pace since the kid went from Winterfell past to where they were.
Yeah, I definitely feel like the White Walkers need to attack next episode, or it's going to start getting kind of weird.
I was kind of thinking that the first sequence of this episode would just be some sort of undead White Walker attack, just to set the stakes of this is what that fucking army is capable of doing, attacking a random town or something like that.
Yeah.
We didn't get that, but I'm actually kind of glad we didn't, because I have this they did something better instead, I think, which is at Castle Black, everyone's walking into that kind of open area, and you see the bloodstains in the snow, but there's no bodies. And I thought that was really cool. Yeah. It's like, oh man, like they're growing, they're moving, and they're growing.
Well, I agree, and you can almost treat like this as the first act of a horror movie where they don't want to show the actual monster. They just want to show the aftermath.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, also, they want you to think about how bad it could be.
Yeah.
Your imagination's always going to be scarier than whatever they can actually pull off with special effects.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it just works out. Yes, I didn't. I also expected some sort of White Walker action this episode, but it didn't bother me that we didn't get it because I think there was a lot of cool things set up.
I have a
feel like
feeling
we're
we're
going to see a lot of them in the next 5 episodes.
Oh,
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, that big battle, the biggest battle ever in film. If there's no White Walkers in that, I'd be shocked.
So, do you guys think that the White Walker threat and the Cersei threat are going to kind of mingle in some way, or do you think the White Walker threat's going to be over and then we're dealing with Cersei?
So my theory. You can go ahead, Jeff.
Sorry. I think they're going to mingle some, and then it's going to be a case of stuff's happening on both sides, probably. And then at the end, one of the sides will go down, and they got to deal with the rest of the other one, probably.
Yeah. No.
Whatever's left.
So I wasn't sure what was going to happen, and I was talking to my friend Ellen, and she told me that apparently global warming is a big part of the show. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm sure. But then there's actually a line from George R. R. Martin saying, no, global warming is a big influence on this show. And I think what's going to happen is the global warming is the White Walkers in that army. That's global warming, basically, in the analogy. We're so busy bickering about what to do, they're just going to win. They're going to kill everyone because everyone was too busy bickering about tradition and honor and family names and all that other bullshit that, as John is saying, it doesn't matter. We just need to deal with them. But no one is buying it. They just want to deal with the drama they're used to dealing with. And I just think it's going to end with everyone dying. So I just think, that Cersei threat. Who's going to sit on the Iron Throne? None of that matters. No one's going to sit on the Iron Throne. It's just going to end with everyone dying. So I think all this stuff is just going to be washed over. It'll matter until everyone's dead.
Just in a way, I can kind of see the books potentially ending some way like that. I don't see the show ending like that.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know. I just can't. I think that would probably be cooler than a lot of things that they're going to come up with this show.
Yeah, the show seems to, again, well to see what books do, but the show seems the last couple of seasons go more into, hey, happy ending / fan service plot armor stuff.
So there was a line that in the 7th episode of season 7, so last episode of season 7, my friend Steven texted this to me because I told him this theory today, and he's like, oh, I don't know. And now he watched season 7 catching up to this weekend, and he's been texting me, and he said that in that episode, in season 7 finale, the guy who prays to the Lord of Light all the time, he says to Jon Snow, remember, we all die. The enemy always wins. And I wonder how much that's going to play into this. The enemy always wins. Who's the enemy? The enemy is the Night King. Nature doesn't give a shit.
Whose enemy? Because that's not Cersei's enemy.
Well, she doesn't realize it's her enemy. Because she's too busy dealing with tradition and family names and all that. And watching this episode with that in mind, I'm more convinced that this is how this is going to end. Everyone is saying no to Jon Snow, basically. Almost everyone, except for Daenerys. Because they're in love.
It all comes back to his penis.
Well, I mean, it could kind of come full circle from Robert's Rebellion, because Lyanna and Rhaegar loving each other kind of doomed the entire realm and caused a lot of wars and caused everything that happened now. And now Jon and Daenerys' love is probably going to make it a lot harder for Jon to convince the North people that he's doing this for them, when they're going to be no, you're doing this because you love her. And that's that could be the undoing of what everything Jon's trying to do, is because he loves this woman, And that's.
Even going beyond that, a lot of the talk at Winterfell is, we don't have enough rations for this. We just don't have the resources to deal with this threat that's coming in. We can't feed all these soldiers that are coming in here. it's unrealistic to think we could deal with this threat. Sounds like the global warming conversation on two sides.
I mean, the global warming thing for just A Song of Ice and Fire books and this has been around for a long time.
Oh, I know it. I know it has been. I just think
but I'm saying, like, I think you're right that we're getting more, like, it's falling more and more into place. Like, it's always been a hint of it. It's like, oh yeah, John's like the, like, you know, environmentalist people who are trying to convince everyone there's a problem, and then the politics is us not listening. But now it's getting more and more dire, and I think you're right. I do think there's a chance. Mm-hmm. So holding on so by the way, I forgot to say this at the top, but we all did like Deadpool lists. So we like picked who we think is gonna die and when, and at the end of the season we're gonna see who won. And I think if we all agree, I think we're just gonna buy them some like dumb Game of Thrones merch, and they can just like take some picture drowning in their 3 pieces of Game of Thrones merch. So Holden, was yours just completely full?
Yeah, everyone died, and mine, everyone is dead.
Oh, good, I'm not the craziest.
I didn't know when everyone was going to die, though, so just most of the people are episode 6, and I put like 2 people as episode 1 just for the hell of it. But everyone's going to die, for sure. No one's on the Iron Throne, no one kills the Night King. It's a somber ending. Because nature don't
What I
give a
want
shit.
to happen, what I want to happen is I want no one to have the Iron Throne. I want people to be like, we don't need a monarchy. We can all govern ourselves, and we're great. We don't fucking need this anymore.
They'll make democracy in 6 episodes.
What I think is going to happen, what I would really, really hate, is that Sansa Stark is going to be on the throne somehow. They're just going to do it to piss me off.
If someone were on the Iron Throne, I actually think it might be Sansa. I think that'd be kind of awesome.
When Arya in this episode says Sansa's the smartest person I've ever met, fuck you. Fuck you. This is a girl who lied about about Joffrey being attacked by this kid and killed your friend and made sure that her dog died and all this. What a bitch.
The last time Arya met Sansa was saying, Joffrey and I are going to be married and it's going to be so beautiful. Smartest person Arya, through all of experiences in the Game of Thrones shows, ever met.
I mean, I honestly, up until like the last 2 seasons, Sansa is actually one of my favorite characters.
She has turned around a lot.
Yeah, I think her like she went from like my most hated character because she was just supposed to be in season 1 to a character I actually really admire, and then the last 2 seasons have been kind of rocky. But yeah, I guess I can see from Arya's perspective, Arya was not there for much of Sansa's brilliance, but yeah, that's hard. I definitely feel like there's some big thing we're missing.
Probably.
I don't think so. I've been trying to scroll through all of my notes that I took, and I think we've covered pretty much everything. Oh, I really like the line that Cersei said, you want a whore? Buy one. You want a queen? Earn her. Like, ooh, yeah. And then she immediately puts out.
But this kind of shows how Euron's different, because I feel like most Game of Thrones scenes would have ended there and she would have walked out and that was the last word. But Euron's like, no, I'm just going to keep talking.
Yep. Oh, here's one thing we haven't talked about. We've kind of skirted around it a little bit. But how about that 3-minute break in the middle of it where they did a How to Train Your Dragon movie that was awful?
That was okay, yeah, that was so random. I'm like, you have 6 episodes left. Time is precious. They better stumble on the undead army or something. Nope, they just smile at each other.
They just smile with some pretty so-so CGI on these dragons.
Oh, very so-so. I mean, it looked like that was the most green screen I think I've ever seen Game of Thrones look.
Yeah.
And just like, I don't know, every now and then Kit Harington and Emilia Clarke just seem like absolute like B-movie tier actors every now and then.
Yeah, this was that moment.
Well, to be fair, it's not like they're going to say, hey, we're casting season 1 right now. In season 8, we need to make sure you guys have chemistry. So let's talk. Well,
that's what Emilia Clarke talked about, how like everyone else gets to like film their scenes like in cool, awesome locations. I do it in like a green screen room with a bunch of fake dragons, and it's like I don't get to see anyone else. Yeah, I probably didn't know. But yeah, that scene, like this is part of why like I have not enjoyed their. I don't think they have had a shred of chemistry all last season. I think like they've shown flashes of it at times, like in the finale in this episode, but most of the time I feel like their relationship's pretty cringy, and this is kind of exemplifies that.
But they're two hot people, and everyone wants to see two hot people fuck.
They're the main characters, Dar. They have to be together.
It's the new Jim and Pam Ross Rachel.
They just happen to be related, Darby. God.
I mean, even if you threw the incest out, that's what me and Jeff were saying like last season. Is like even throw that out, which I mean that is a big deal. That's a big deal for why I don't like it. But even if you throw that out, it's just kind of boring. And
yeah,
I don't know that we could stay here 1,000 years. No
Yeah,
one would ever find. We'd be pretty old in the freaking. It's pretty cold for a southern girl. Will keep your queen warm. And then I just wanted to vomit.
Okay. First of all, also keep your queen warm. Speaking of that fantastic coat that she's riding in on, when did she have time to get that made? Those things, and
she has a fashion designer.
but
Chad,
nobody
it's been
makes
2
that
years
quickly.
since they shot season 7.
Got a
But
point.
it's been like 4 minutes since the end of season 7.
They
She
made
didn't know
it
she was
on
going to
the
Winterfell.
flight.
She's lived in the desert wearing nothing but sheer silk forever.
She's like, Jorah Mormont, I'm so glad you're back here. Make me a fucking coat. We're about to go to Winterfell. That's what happened.
Yep.
And Jorah's like, I love you, Daenerys. Absolutely. Of course I will make that coat for you.
I'll take all of the little pieces of skin that were torn off of my body, and I'll make you a coat out of it.
How romantic, Jorah. Thank you.
Well,
Now I'm going to go fuck my nephew. Thank you, Jorah.
well, Chad, you were wondering where that coat came from. I mean, we haven't seen Ghost in a long time.
He did come back in season 8. I said yes on that Deadpool thing. I'm right.
Oh, man. Poor Ghost.
Well, okay. Do you guys have any before we do get out of here? Do you guys have any thoughts on next week's episode and just the where we're going in the like immediate future?
I'm excited to see new things. I feel like this episode was full of things we already knew, but the characters didn't already know, and not so much new that we learned, other than just being able to watch the reactions. So I think next episode they're really going to pick up, and we're going to be able to like, oh shit, we're going to have our minds start being blown.
You know, this episode was so much different than what I was expecting. I kind of expected it to be immediately really intense. They don't have 6 episodes left. And it wasn't that, but I still really loved it. So I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to know what happens next or try to think about it. I just want to experience it at this point. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I agree. It was one of those things that I did worry that with only 6 episodes, we didn't have room for a more like character driven, you know, like discussion based and like political like aspect like side of things Game of Thrones episode. I honestly didn't think we had enough room for one of those, but I actually kind of appreciate it. Like this kind of made me think about like season 3 Game of Thrones almost, where it's all about, you know, these different relationships with these people and
flying dragons.
And flying dragons.
Of course.
Yeah, just like season 3.
Yeah, I don't know where the dragons were along, but I don't think
They were babies.
They were. I think they were still babies then.
Yeah, little
they might have
baby
been
dragons.
they were adolescent dragons at that point, maybe.
They were standing out past their curfew, drinking and smoking pot when they shouldn't have been. There was their adolescent phase.
Listening to a lot of metal bands and
Yep.
Eating people's sheep.
eating people's sheep.
Also, that was a confusing thing, really
that
quickly.
line where there was like, they've eaten 18 sheep, and she's like, oh, they're barely eating. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. No, but not even that. Like, they don't like the North. Like, so they're not eating because the sheep taste different? Like, I was kind of confused. What was...
Too cold.
They're homesick. It's too cold. Also, sucks
we
up
go.
them. She's being a bitch to them. What do they even eat anyway? I don't even know. Whatever they want. Look at
They
you.
just have a
Play-
lot
I'll
of
feed
anxiety.
you my fucking
They're not eating
dragons.
as much. They lost their friend. They lost their brother. That's why they're upset. They're just not eating. They're depressed.
There you go.
Are you depressed? Who knows?
They heard Braun that their brother's a zombie.
Yeah, they know.
Oh no, they
what's up.
saw it. They saw it. Yeah, they were there for it, weren't they?
No,
Oh,
that happened after they. That happened after
yeah.
they flew away.
Yeah, they flew away, and it was the one.
Oh, okay. Well, they saw him get taken down at least, though. Didn't
Yeah,
They?
Yeah.
they don't know that he's been turned.
Oh, the zombified.
He got turned.
He got turned.
They could have predicted it, but
Jeff, do you have any thoughts on where we're going?
yeah, I expect things to maybe pick up next episode. We either see a battle, or at the end of the episode, we see the White Walkers going towards something of quote unquote importance.
Yeah, like whether. I mean, Castle Black has to be just gone.
Yeah.
It's when they get to Winterfell is when like shit's gonna start going down.
Yeah, some stuff will happen with Jamie, obviously, with the way that the episode ended.
Yeah, that's obviously like one of the bigger questions that's going into next week's episode.
Yeah.
Is
How is someone going
everyone's
to push Brand inside?
That's the biggest question.
That's the biggest question.
Jamie, from pushing him out a window to pushing him inside.
Yeah, they're gonna become best friends at this point.
Yeah.
But I am interested to see. Like, I feel like it's gonna be a hard sell for Jamie to get the Northmen to not think that he's just a spy for Cersei. It's gonna be a real hard sell.
I think Tyrion being there might help.
But they don't like. They don't like.
distrust Tyrion, yeah.
They don't like Tyrion either. They don't like.
Yeah, and they'll bring a bigger rift between the rich people and the not so
Man,
dirty
I'm starting
people.
to go more towards Holden's camp. They're all screwed.
I think what might help convince them is that, like, as far as everyone else knows, she's bringing all her armies up. And then when he gets up there and she's like, hey, guys, no one's coming. They're like, oh, shit. Why would he lie about that?
No.
So
Immediate
so
trust.
she could attack them. Sneak
Oh, you're
attack.
true.
I mean, like, if I'm a Northman and Jamie Lannister's like, no, I just really believe in your cause, I'm gonna like join your army, I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, he might
Wait.
just get close to Jon and slit his throat, or he might be
Tyrion
giving
is
them
gonna
intel.
stand up for Jamie.
Yeah. Although I loved in the, like,
defend.
next time on when Daenerys was saying, my brother and I were told stories about, or told me stories about what we would do if we ever found the man who killed our father. And it's like, oh, God, I can't wait to see their interaction.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Again, this is like, everyone's gonna be at each other's throats. I think Holden's right, Jeff.
Everyone's
No.
going to die.
No, seriously, I'll pose you the question. What is the one thing that will convince absolutely everyone to abandon everything they know within 6 episodes? Within 5 episodes? It's not
Here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. Everyone's going to die except for Daenerys. And then she's going to pull out the time stone. And she's going to rewind time before the Infinity Gauntlet was made. And she's going to find a way to convince everyone.
Boom.
The last Game of Thrones episode is just in game. We just do the in-game plays.
I'm curious what's gonna happen with the Iron Islands since Yara's going there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that's just like that's what Yara's doing, and we're not going to follow her. We're just following Theon, or if it's like there's actually something plot relevant about that. Because I could see that just being like, or maybe at the end of the episode, they're like, "Yep, Yara rules the Iron Islands now." You know, it could just be a line at the end.
That's a thought. This just hit me. How do we act? I mean, just dumb question, maybe. How do we actually know the zombies can't go through water? They said, "Oh,
The
they
episode
can't."
Where they break the ice and
Oh,
water
that's
and
right. That's right. Okay, thank you.
Then they
All
just
right.
stand there until they realize it's frozen again.
Yeah.
I knew it's a dumb question, but I had to ask it. Thank you, Chad.
You're welcome. You dumb bitch.
I'm a dumb bitch. I ask dumb questions. That's what I do.
Also, I guess if they could go through the water, they could just like swim around the wall.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, that would have been hilarious. That's how they get around. Just they all like just you see like 100,000 zombies just jumping like line by line.
You have this
The
giant
night-
wall that you swim around. It's like,
The Night King's like, "All right, guys, next." All right, they're moved out of the way. Next.
and they just like Olympic dive, like in synchronized diving.
Women and children on the dragon to get over the wall.
There's some White Walkers down there holding it's like 9. When everyone lands.
All right, you guys. Well, I think we talked about pretty much everything, and I think this is going to be one of the shorter episodes, so we should probably save ourselves. I'm sure we're going to have some of these spoiler casts.
Still an hour.
that go super long.
Oh, that last episode.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
We might have to talk about doing that a day or two after.
So excited.
Let's see. Multiple parts. Well, yeah, thank you guys so much for joining. Any last thoughts about this episode before we sign out?
Can't fucking wait.
I'll continue watching through the rest of the season, I think.
Yeah.
I'll continue watching it. They got me.
I think I've seen all I needed to see.
I want to hold, and I want you to not watch it, but keep coming on.
Yeah, that was great, guys. When,
Hey, guys.
Jamie jumped over that log or something. I don't know.
Hey, guys, what happened? Summarize it for me. I'll try to keep up.
See how long you can go just by making stuff up.
That sounds horrible. That's like ninth ring of hell. Like, you haven't watched the Game of Thrones episode, but everyone's talking about it around you, and you have to listen to it. No spoilers, no!
All right, well, we will be back again next week in the same podcast feed. You can check. I'm going to put links in the description to show all of our Deadpool lists, so you can see who's the closest. So you can see, is Holden right? Is everyone gone? Or I think I probably had like the lowest amount of deaths from anyone. So we'll see. We're holding up the two opposite ends. We shall see what happens. Well, you guys go ahead and where can people find you? What should people follow that you guys do? There's a pretty cool podcast you do.
Check us out at Respawn Aim Fire. It's our weekly video game podcast where we do all sorts of fun stuff and have a great time. And we're also pretty fun on Twitter, so follow us there, same thing, at Respawn Aim Fire.
And I am at Holden DePardo, but I don't post things there ever. But I'm also on a podcast. You might have heard of it called at Respawn Aim Fire. We're on Twitter. You can find us at Respawn Aim Fire.
It's true.
It is a true statement. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week. Yeah. So
Bada bing, bada
long.
boom.
I'll have a cool Game of Thrones sign off. That's it.
Dragons.
Dragons.
Dragons.